Let's talk about almonds, Gabriele Ludwig. Almonds often villainized. We did a post on Facebook, little horns on almonds. Got lots of traction on that one. I think you put some ads on the radio to counter that sort of stuff. How are the almonds faring now at this point in the water season?
Well, I very much second what Ashley said, that it really depends on where you are, because it depends on your water rights, it depends on things like that, so and where you are in the water distribution system. So some growers are getting 100% of their allocation, and other growers, just heard 3 days ago, they're getting 5% of their allocation, which is not covering their needs. So, and then also I think, coming back to your larger question, I very much agree. We don't think that the drought is over, and whether it's the weather drought or regulatory caused reasons for drought, but just water supply is going to be changing for a variety of reasons for the future.
Hold on. Regulators can cause drought?
From our perspective, yes.
So they're not turning the tap wide enough, and they're holding it back to what, protect fish?
It can be for fish, it can be for temperature, it can be for salt. I mean, there's a whole variety of reasons for water not being available, or currently there's water that traditionally would have been pumped into storage for use during the summer, and because of fish, it can't be pumped.
Max Gomberg, did you cause this crisis?
I didn't say cause the crisis, it's a component to it.
No, but as Gabriele mentions, there are reasons why water isn't being delivered, but that's California water. It's complex. We have to protect our ecosystems. We have to protect our urban areas and make sure that we have supplies for cities, and we have to make sure that we still have a thriving agricultural economy. It's a very difficult balancing act.
In fact, California, I think, has in law that there equal measure, equal rights for ecosystems and human uses. So, Gabriele Ludwig, do you think that that's reasonable and fair, or do you think it's tilted in favor of tilted in one direction or the other?
I don't think it's that simple, because we're all dependent on all of it. We all need the water, whether we eat the food. We're all dependent on the ecosystems, I think that antagonism, as it's been built up, is to me part of the problem, because it's been really hard to have good conversations about how do we go from where we are now to the future if we view it as, here are the environmental rights, here are the ag rights, here are the urban rights. We're all in this together, and we are all codependent. So how do we move forward from where the conversation's been to a more productive conversation that's not an either or?
Do you think that almonds have been unfairly villainized?
Of course I do. But I would also say that it's part of the larger conversation that many people do not understand where their food comes from, what it takes to grow food, that I don't care what you eat, there is water, a lot of water in that food. Almonds took the hit because we're now one of the largest crops in the country. When I was in grad school, it's getting some time ago, there was a drought. At that time, there was about 1 million acres of cotton. Cotton was villainized. So it really comes back to which crops are grown. And if you actually look at the data, the absolute amount of water going to agriculture hasn't changed that much over the last 20 years. What's changed is which crop. And then there are also such statistics as the productivity, the amount of crop we grow with that water has really increased. So on average, there's about a 43% increase in productivity for all of California agriculture over the last 40 years. So that's more crop per drop. In the almond industry, we have a 33% increase just in the last 20 years. And that's partly changes in irrigation, partly changes in production practices. So again, everything's evolving. We took the brunt of it, but really it was, again, part of that larger conversation about how do we deal with a limited water supply with so many different needs. And so it's easier to vilify than to have the hard conversation about how do we move forward.
Thompson.